What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the How to Vegan podcast. My name is Kristen. I'm the host of this podcast, and I'm so glad you're tuning in. Today's episode is all about vegan road trips. We all love a good road trip, at least I know I do. And I've got some awesome little tips and tricks that will make your next vegan road trip less stressful and overwhelming, and a lot more affordable, delicious, healthy, and eco-friendly. Whoop whoop. I've also compiled a nice little list of meal ideas. We're talking brunch, lunch, dinner, snacks, and beverages that you can take with you on the road, as well as a list of some vegan snacks that you can find at most gas stations, at least in the United States. So if you're into road trips and you're either vegan or you're wanting to eat more vegan, then this episode is definitely going to be super helpful for you. So if this is your first time tuning into the How to Vegan podcast, then hello. Like I said, I'm super glad you're here. And now is the perfect time to go make sure that you're subscribed on your favorite podcast listening platform. So whether that's on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or SoundCloud or YouTube, where you can find the unedited video versions, which are super fun. Go make sure you're subscribed. Go leave me a little comment letting me know that you're there, and just say what's up so that we can connect. I love connecting with people that way. And if you'd like to support the podcast for free, then just click on the little Amazon link in the show notes anytime you go to shop on Amazon, and they'll kick me back a small little percentage of whatever you buy. Super easy, super free. Helps me a little bit every time you buy something on Amazon using my link. So again, just open up the little description or the show notes. You'll see a little thing that says support this podcast. Use this link when shopping on Amazon, and you can click on it. You'll see all my favorite stuff, and then whatever you buy on that trip kicks me a little small percentage. So if you're wanting to support the podcast and everything that I'm doing, then that's an awesome, easy way to do it. So thank you guys for those of you who use my little Amazon link. It really means a lot to me. And if you really love the podcast, then please head on over to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and leave a little rating and a review. And don't forget to share this episode with any of your peeps who might be interested in these tips and tricks that I've put together for you. Go ahead, share that vegan love. It feels good. I promise. That ripple effect, like I always say, that ripple effect is real. It starts small and it ripples outward, and all of the little things we're doing is going to make a huge impact. So keep that in mind and share that with anybody you think would like it. And like I said, go leave a little review and a rating in iTunes or Apple Podcasts. It just pushes the podcast up more, gets it closer, higher up in the rankings, so more people will see it and can learn how to go vegan or how to stay vegan. So thank you to those of you who have done that, and thanks to those of you who will. You guys are awesome. All right, without further ado, let's dive right into today's episode. If you're watching the unedited video versions on YouTube, I say this in every episode, but you're clearly watching unedited video versions where a lot of times back behind the scenes, you don't get to see, people taking breaks and kind of messing up and all that stuff. So I like unedited versions to kind of just see the realness and rawness. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're like, what kind of podcast is this? And you're wanting like quality audio, edited, a little bit more produced, then head on over to iTunes or all those other places I mentioned earlier where just the audio is uploaded, and you'll get the like edited audio version. But if you want to watch this on YouTube, then keep going and make sure you subscribe and leave a little comment and say hi to me. Okay, let's get back into it. What is my hair doing? I don't know what my hair is doing. All right, good enough. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is just some tips for vegan road trips that I put together for you. Just some ideas that I had while kind of brainstorming for this episode that have been helpful for me, and I thought that they would be helpful for you too. So the first thing that I have down on my little list is to bring a cooler with you if it is possible. Even if it's just for leftovers, if you're not even bringing anything with you in the cooler, you're just going on a little road trip, or you're staying in a hotel and they have a refrigerator or whatever. Sometimes it's a little mini fridge, sometimes just having a cooler in the car for stuffing your leftovers in is amazing. And if you want to bring actual, food, then having a cooler with some ice or some like little ice packs can be super helpful. And this is something that I didn't realize forever. I was like, oh, I should be bringing a cooler with me. So bring a cooler with you if possible. Again, even if it's just for leftovers, you can grab ice anywhere and pop your leftovers in there, and at least they're not gonna like spoil in a hot car or something like that. So bring a cooler with you if possible. Another thing is that you can always use those little like meal prep cooler bags that you can buy. I've seen them on Amazon. I've seen people actually use them. I don't know anyone that's ever used one, but they're like sectioned out meal prep cooler bags that come with like reusable meal prep containers. And it's like a cooler bag, and it just comes with the containers and you can fill them all up. So if you're going on a road trip and you want stuff kind of like portioned out, or if you have a family that needs portion sizes portioned out, that's always an option. I think they're like 30 bucks on Amazon. Anything that I mentioned in this episode that is something that you might be able to purchase, I will leave a link for it in the description of this episode or the show notes, kind of depending on where you're watching. So make sure to pop that open, and I'll leave links for all of this stuff that I'm talking about. So I found one of these like meal prep cooler bags on Amazon, so I'll leave a little link for that for you guys if you want to check out what I'm talking about, because you might be like, I don't have any idea. I think a lot of people use these for school. Like if you're going to college and you know you're going to be gone like 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. with your classes, and you just are trying to eat healthy and just need some stuff prepped out and you need somewhere to keep it. I've seen people use these little like meal prep cooler bag things. So what's wrong with the camera? I don't know. It has like a little thing, like it's, I don't know what happened with my camera, but it like had this little like warning light and then turned off. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. If it does, I might have to start over and use my other camera, because this one's been having some issues lately since I took it in my car with me. I don't know. Okay. 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 I don't know. Hopefully this works. If not, then I might have to start over. But so yeah, I'll leave a link for these like meal prep cooler bags. I think people use them for school. I've seen people kind of carry around. They seem helpful, so I'll leave a link for those if you guys are interested at all. Another thing, another little tip is to bring some reusable utensils. So I like bamboo ones, and you might want to bring some reusable straws. Probably the stainless steel ones, not the glass ones, so they don't break. And maybe even a bowl, like a reusable bowl if you just need to like toss together some cereal really quick. Bring that stuff with you. It can be so helpful. Just having my like bamboo utensils on me, it's just so nice. Even if you're getting some to-go food, you don't have to worry about getting their plastic utensils and then wasting them and stuff. I've been really trying to concentrate more on being more eco-friendly, and I feel like this is something that has really helped a lot, is bringing my own utensils and reusable straws, and like I said, maybe a bowl with you. So think about what you're wanting to eat and what you might eat, and if you have room, you might as well shove this stuff in the car with you. Why not? Instead of using plastic Ziploc or plastic little sandwich bags, you can buy some reusable travel containers that are similar to bags. The ones that I've seen and that look awesome and that I hear people talk about are called stasher bags. Again, I'll leave a little link for those if you want to go check them out. They're like little silicone Ziploc bags that are reusable. You just wash them and you can put your snacks in them, put sandwiches, put whatever, and then that way you're not using up a bunch of like Ziploc bags themselves. Or you can use like mason jars, cur jars, if you're not worried about the glass and you feel comfortable using those. You can use those as well. Another tip I have for you is to eat a larger meal, which is usually probably breakfast, before you take off. And a good mix of some healthy carbs and healthy whole fats will leave you feeling full for longer time. So I like to have like some oatmeal with some like almond butter or peanut butter on top and some berries, something hearty, so that I'm not just leaving the house, I'm like, I'm hungry, and I eat all my snacks in like an hour, which still happens sometimes. Yeah, we all know. So when you're arriving in towns that you're unfamiliar with, you should use apps like Yelp or Happy Cow to help you figure out what restaurants in your area might have some vegan options. So if you're like, I don't know what this place is, Happy Cow is specifically for vegetarian and vegan food, and Yelp is more broad, but that's the one that I usually use. And if you're wanting to know more about dining out as a vegan, then you can check out the episode that I have on that. Again, I'll leave a little link for that below. I've got a whole episode about making it easy to dine out as a vegan. But use apps like Yelp or Happy Cow, type in vegan, find the restaurants around you, and you can find stuff that way, which can be super helpful. And it's clearly not ideal. It's not the #1 choice as far as your health goes, but you can totally stop at a fast food restaurant. They do have options. My last episode, or episode 15, was about vegan fast food options. So if you like just are knowing there's not going to be anything and you're just kind of stopping in a food desert, there are options. So go listen to that episode. I talk about all the options at like Taco Bell, Wendy's, McDonald's, Sonic, Dairy. I mean, literally all of the like main fast food restaurants I talk about in that episode. So go check that out for sure if you haven't yet, if you are knowing that that might be your only option. And when you're at the grocery store and you're wondering if something's vegan or not, they have little vegan scanner apps. There's one called Is It Vegan? And there's one called Vegan Scanner, and you just scan it and it'll tell you if the ingredients are vegan or not. So if you're new to this and you're wondering and you're at the grocery store and you're just like, I don't know, I need to get some food, grab that app, grab one of those two apps and scan it. It makes it really, really easy. If you're staying in hotels along the way, your room might have a little mini fridge and microwave. You can always call and ask if you've booked ahead of time. That's helpful to know because that way you can keep some stuff in your fridge. You can bring some little oatmeal packets with you. You can make oatmeal. You can reheat up your leftovers. So you might want to try to book a hotel that has that if you're knowing that that would be helpful for you. And again, you can just call and ask if you've already booked it, or you can call and ask if you're wondering in general. If you want me to do an episode about vegan hotel tips and tricks, let me know, because I feel like I have enough information that would be really helpful for people who travel a lot and stay in hotels. So if you want me to do an episode on that, head on over to the YouTube channel, How to Vegan Podcast, find this episode and just leave a comment letting me know that you'd like an episode on that. Another thing that is super important is making sure that you stay hydrated when you're on the road. So bring your reusable water bottle, insulated as best, so keep stuff either hot or cold, and fill it up at the gas stations as you're traveling. That way you're not buying plastic water bottles and contributing to the plastic waste on this planet, which is just not good at all. And that can happen when you're traveling, is that you find yourself buying plastic way more than you would. So being prepared ahead of time is super important and really helpful. So get a reusable water bottle, make sure it's BPA free and all of that stuff, and bring it with you and just fill it up at gas stations. I don't think I've ever been to a gas station where you couldn't fill up your reusable water bottle at like just the fountain place. You know, ice, there's a little thing that should say water, should be pretty easy, and you can always ask if you can't find it. But that way it's free water, it's usually really cold, you get ice. That's my favorite. And staying hydrated is super important because you can forget to drink water if you're off of your normal schedule. Another tip, you can shop at places like Whole Foods or places similar to Whole Foods that you know have salad bars, and you can stock up like a big box of salad stuff. This isn't like super cheap, but it isn't too expensive. It's usually say around like $10 for a huge big salad, which can be enough for 2 meals, kind of depending on how you're gonna use it. You can get some hummus and some pita and make like little wraps or sandwiches with it. But if you're needing some greens, if you're needing some veggies and you don't have a place to prep it and all that stuff, that's something that can, you know, help you stay on the healthy track while not spending too much money. It's not as much as going out and maybe buying a salad out, and it's probably a lot healthier. You can also kind of rethink what a meal means to you. So make a meal out of healthy snacks or just out of whole foods. You can also eat what some people eat, and it's called mono meals. That was a weird way to put it. You can also eat mono meals, which essentially is just one type of food, but at like a large volume of it. So you can eat a bunch of dates or a bunch of bananas or a bunch of, you know, carrots and hummus, and you don't have to have a wide variety of meals all the time. Yeah, it gets a little boring if you do that every meal, but mono meal is okay. Some people live that way strictly. So if you're interested in that and you want to know more about that, you can just type in mono meals on Google and search it. A lot of raw foodists do this, and a lot of people think that that's kind of how humans started, was wandering. You'd find a big patch of something or a big fig tree and eat until you're full, and that was your meal, not a wide variety of all different food types and everything like that. So rethink what a meal means. It doesn't have to be what you always think it is. Breakfast maybe doesn't have to be sweet, dinner doesn't have to be savory. So rethink, be open-minded. Sometimes when you're on the road, you just kind of have to think outside of the box, which is totally okay. If you like coffee creamer in your coffee, which I do, we do, love some vegan coffee creamer. I like black coffee too, but that creamer just does it to me. I love it. But if you like creamer like we do in your coffee, you might want to bring some with you. So in your little cooler or whatever, bring some with you, and that way you can stop at gas stations and fill up your little coffee there and add some creamer to it. Or if you're in your hotel room, you can make sure that you have some creamer for your coffee there. You know, a lot of hotels don't provide non-dairy creamer, some of them do, but that way you can just know that you have it. And a lot of hotels have those like coffee makers in the room, so you could just make it, keep your little, you know, creamer in your cooler or in your mini fridge if you have one, and you don't even have to leave your room in the morning to have your coffee if you want creamer in it. So another little tip that really helps us is to bring some coffee creamer. Similarly, we also really like to bring some vegan mayo. So we usually just bring like a jar of either that Just mayo or some kind of store-bought mayo, or I'll make some of my easy vegan mayo, which is on my regular YouTube channel, Kristen Emily. So go check that out if you're wanting a homemade version. It's an oil-free, cashew-based version of mayo. So we'll just like to bring some of that in our cooler with us, just in case we go get like a veggie sandwich somewhere, or we get fries and some ketchup and we want to make some vegan fry sauce, which for those of you who don't know what that is, that's ketchup and mayonnaise mixed. So good on burgers, so good on fries, so good on all of those things. So even if that's all you bring is some coffee creamer and some vegan mayo, you can like jazz up your stuff on the road with those two things. I don't know why vegan mayo is so good, like why it makes such a difference, but it totally does. And one more tip before we move on to some food stuff is to bring your own vegan/cruelty-free personal care products with you, because you don't want to forget, and if you forget or you run out, your only options might be to buy products that have been tested on animals or that aren't vegan, which is such a bummer. When you're just like, I'm out, I can only find, you know, this store, this is all they have, I need toothpaste or whatever. So make sure you bring your vegan, cruelty-free beauty products, personal care products, all that stuff with you. Just another little tip I thought I'd throw in there. Okay, so now that I've given you a little rundown on some of my tips to make vegan road trips a little bit easier, let's dive right into some meal ideas for when you're on the road and you know you won't have any options for miles and miles, which totally happens. Have you ever driven through Nebraska? I swear it never ends. It's so boring. So having some of this stuff on hand, I just wanted to give you guys some ideas and let your little brain start brainstorming in case you're needing some ideas for when you're on the road. So let's start with breakfast. Let's just kind of go in order. Breakfast. So some ideas. Fresh fruit, aka nature's original fast food. Super easy to bring with you. Apples, grapes, berries, oranges, bananas. Those are some of the ones that travel best. That's one of my favorite things just to have for breakfast. Again, you can have like a mono meal of fruit and just eat a bunch of fruit. But I love having fresh fruit on hand. It's an awesome snack as well. You can also make some overnight oats. I have a recipe for that on my regular YouTube channel as well, not the podcast YouTube channel. I'll leave link to that down below too. Essentially just make oatmeal the night before. It's cold, you bring it with you in the cooler and you eat it along the way. So we'll make a large jar of that sometimes and eat that for breakfast throughout the road trip, just adding some fresh fruit on top or some nut or seed butter or something like that. It's super good. We love overnight oats. Another thing you can bring similarly is chia seed pudding. Delicious. You can make some vegan muffins ahead of time. You can make some little like energy balls made out of like dates and nuts and seeds and all of that stuff, oats and stuff. I have like a cookie dough granola recipe that can be made into like little energy balls as well. So if you want that, check that out. They're super good. It tastes like cookie dough and it's really good for you. Or you can bring like little Lara bars and eat those with some fresh fruit. Bagels and cream cheese, or bagels and peanut butter, or bagels and hummus if you're not gluten-free and you can find bagels and you want to eat it that way. I haven't found any good gluten-free bagels. If anybody knows of any, let me know. But bagels and cream cheese or peanut butter and hummus, that's really easy. You can put some bananas on there with the peanut butter and kind of make a breakfast out of it that way. You could even bring bagels and avocado and kind of have like avocado toast. So that's another option. And another option that I have for breakfast for you is some like granola and vegan yogurt. If you've never had Koyo, that vegan yogurt is so good. And with some good vegan granola and some fresh berries or fresh fruit or bananas, oh, such an easy, delicious breakfast. And same with cereal. Like if you just want to bring some like dry cereal or granola and then bring a cooler and have some like non-dairy milk in there, that's an easy breakfast. So there's some ideas for breakfast for you. Moving on to like lunch and dinner, I would say that stopping somewhere for dinner is usually your best bet. Lunch kind of is a little bit more flexible for me on what I'm eating, but what is my hair doing? But stopping somewhere for dinner is usually best. Kind of depends on how much you want to prep and do all ahead of time. So again, use Yelp or Happy Cow app if you know you're gonna stop for lunch or dinner. But otherwise, if you're not wanting to stop and wanting to have some stuff on hand, you can bring some sandwiches, and you can either like pre-cut all of your sandwich stuff. So pre-cut all your veggies and have it like in a little Tupperware. We do this sometimes with like parchment paper to separate it out so that not all the tomatoes mix with the lettuce and get things all soggy. Or you can totally make your sandwiches ahead of time. Maybe you don't put on like the mayo and the mustard and the tomatoes, some of the like soggier stuff. You can make them ahead of time and wrap them up tightly like in some foil or in one of those stasher bags. You can also make collard wraps, same as sandwiches. You put everything you want in a collard wrap, roll it up. We've done that before and individually wrapped them and just had those ready to go, and they're so good. You can do like a chickpea salad one. Those are really good. Pita and hummus sandwiches, like I kind of mentioned earlier, you can bring some veggies and some pita and some hummus and kind of make little sandwiches as you're going. I've also seen people do this with like nori sheets and kind of just take the nori sheets, spread some hummus on top, add your veggies, roll it up. You're getting some good sea veggies in that way. So if you like sushi and you like nori sheets, that's another little option that you can definitely try. And then something like pasta salad, like a macaroni salad or an Italian pasta salad, something like that with a bunch of veggies and maybe some gluten-free or regular noodles, whatever you'd like. Make a big tub of that if you can carry it in your cooler. That can be something to snack on if you're just hungry and you don't have, you know, much to eat and you're gonna eat in a couple hours. At least it's something kind of hearty and delicious to eat. So something like a pasta salad or even like a potato salad could be a good idea for lunch or dinner as well. And again, you can combine any of those, add, you know, hummus and veggies and all that stuff. So kind of rethinking your meals can be another good way to approach lunch and dinner on the road. So let's get into some snacks, because let's face it, snacks are probably the best part about road trips. I usually just like snack the whole time and don't ever eat like solid meals, which maybe not be the best, but I just love snacks. So some of my favorite snacks, like I just kind of mentioned, were some veggies and homemade hummus. I have a oil-free hummus recipe I'll link below for you guys. Or I really love the eggplant hummus from Trader Joe's. So amazing, so good. That one's oil-free too, so I don't feel super bad like shoveling a ton of it into my mouth. But I love the eggplant hummus with romaine lettuce. Oh, so good. But yeah, bringing like carrots, cucumber, cherry tomatoes, snap peas, broccoli, celery, any kind of veggies to kind of snack on with some homemade hummus or by themselves is a good way to go. Dried fruit like dates, mango, banana chips, apricots, figs, those are good to have on hand. A little higher in calories because it's kind of condensed down as it's drying, so those are good for sustained energy on the road. Celery sticks with peanut butter. If you got little kids or if you just like doing it yourself, you can add the little raisins and make ants on a log. But celery sticks and peanut butter is just so good. It's just one of my favorite things ever. You can make like a little homemade trail mix. So I usually just go to the bulk bins at my local Winco, any kind of health food store, any place that has bulk bins. It would be good for you. And I just go and like find like raw nuts and seeds and raisins and just kind of like make my own trail mix. Or you can buy a trail mix as well. But that way I'm kind of controlling what's going in there, and I know, you know, I can decide how much of what I want in there too. So you can make your own, you can get some trail mix. That's another like kind of higher caloric little snack. Popcorn, you can pop your own at home, or you can buy, you know, popcorn in the stores. A lot of the popcorn, as long as it's not like white cheddar, if it's just salted, or a lot of the kettle corn ones are vegan, so that's a little bit healthier option. I love popcorn. I always have popcorn on my road trips. I like to pop my own at home. Again, it's less waste, it's so much cheaper, but I also really love some of those store-bought popcorns too. So they usually have those at gas stations. You can make some oven roasted chickpeas, where you just literally roast up some chickpeas in the oven with some spices on them, and they get crispy, so they're kind of like corn nuts. There's recipes all over the interwebs for those, but those are really good and like a crunchy, savory snack that isn't fried and super unhealthy for you. You can make some vegan cookies, whether you want to make them super healthy or you don't give a shit about that. Vegan cookies are really good. And then there's even some store-bought cookie brands that are in most of the gas stations these days, like that Complete cookie. Those are vegan. They taste like protein powder. I don't like them really at all. I think the Snickerdoodle one is good dipped in coffee, but make some vegan cookies. You can make them out of like 3 ingredients, like mashed up banana, peanut butter, and oats. There's so many easy cookie recipes. So make some cookies, have those on hand if you're into cookies. I'm into cookies. I love cookies. And then you can also bring like vegan Cheez-Its, which I wish were more of a thing, which is maybe why I put that on this list. But Minimalist Baker has a super awesome recipe for like homemade vegan Cheez-Its that doesn't look super, super hard. So if you're really missing that on road trips, maybe go check that out. But yeah, I want vegan Cheez-Its to be like more of a thing, more prominent in more like gas stations and more grocery stores and stuff, because I used to love Cheez-Its. But Minimalist Baker, yeah, has a really good recipe. She has amazing recipes. If you guys are not aware of Minimalist Baker, you have to go check out her website. She has amazing recipes. She's a genius. She's just the best. So if you're looking for a good recipe and you see that it's a Minimalist Baker recipe, it's gonna be a good recipe, so. Okay, moving on to beverages. Let's talk about beverages. So my favorite thing to bring, besides water, clearly, is some cans of LaCroix. So again, this would just go in my cooler with some ice. I like the grapefruit, I like the pamplemousse. Casey's more of an apricot, however you say it, fan. But we love having that. Something like bubbly and crisp and refreshing, and that way you're not like stopping and getting a soda. So cans of LaCroix, you can bring some kombucha. We love having kombucha. Keeping your probiotic health up and your gut health up while you're on the road is super important. So kombucha is a good way to go. Same with coconut water, really hydrating. So that's another good thing you can bring. You can bring some fresh pressed juice, and a lot of places that you'll drive through, you can look for a juice place and they'll have it, so you could stock up on some juice bottles too. But having some fresh pressed juice, especially stuff that you make at home, can be awesome to have on the road with you. Cold brew coffee or other cold coffee drinks. So if you're into that stuff and you just want to have some stocked up, you can also brew some cold brew coffee at home and bring it like in a little mason jar and sip on it that way. So that's another good thing to have if you're into coffee and don't really feel like stopping, or if it's super hot out and you know you don't want scalding hot coffee from the gas station, then bring some cold brew that either you brew at home or that you bought at the store. And just something to mention is just try not to buy bottled drinks in plastic or non-recyclable containers. I know sometimes when you're on the road, it's really hard not to, but it's really just not worth it. Again, we're just ruining and destroying our planet's health, the environment's health, the ecosystem's health, the biosphere's health by just using so much plastic and just not being aware of what we're consuming and what goes into the entire process and all of that stuff. So just try to be aware as you're on the road to think ahead of time and plan ahead of time so that you're not just buying a bunch of plastic and non-recyclable containers. And if you do, then try to bring a little recyclable bag with you that you can keep stuff in and recycle it when you get home if you can't find anywhere that recycles before that. Another little tip for you. Okay, so let's talk about some vegan snacks that you can find at most gas stations, because we always stop at gas stations. You need gas if you're on a road trip, and who doesn't have to go pee? So you go in there and then you're like, oh my God, I want all of this stuff. What can I get? I'm hungry and I don't care about my health right now. I'm on a road trip and fuck it. So if that's you and you're just wanting to know what are some vegan options at some gas stations, I've got you covered. So first one, kind of healthy. First few are kind of healthy, I guess. I try to tend to lean toward giving you guys healthy options when I can, but the first one is some fresh fruit. Literally almost every gas station, I'm not saying the quality is amazing, but almost every gas station I've ever been to, I notice they always have like some apples. They're those like red apples that you would get in like elementary school lunches, but hey, it's an apple. Oranges, bananas, those are usually the most common. Sometimes I bought like 3 bananas before and had that and like some coffee for breakfast until I got to the next location. So again, mono meals are an option if all you can find is fruit and you're wanting to eat a little more healthy. Another thing that you can usually find at most gas stations, I think almost all of them, is like some raw nuts and seeds or some toasted nuts and seeds. You can find trail mix. Just make sure there's no chocolate in the trail mix because it usually has milk in it. But yeah, raw almonds, roasted pumpkin seeds. Oh, roasted pumpkin seeds are so good. One of my favorite road trip snacks. So good. Salty, healthy, So good, especially like, yeah, mixed with some fruit or some dried fruit, which is another one. You can usually find dried fruit at gas stations, so that's another good option. Popcorn, like I said earlier, there's lots of popcorn brands. Just make sure there's no milk in it. Again, just flip everything over. If it's in bold at the top or the bottom and says contains milk, eggs, whatever, then it has it in it. If it says may contain, that it means it was produced in a facility that also produces products that have milk or eggs or whatever it says in there. It's not in the actual product, but just because it could be cross-contaminated, they have to say that. So if it says contains, either at the beginning or the bottom, it has to say of the ingredients list if it has any allergens. So dairy, eggs, fish, soy, wheat, that kind of stuff, I think has to be listed. Meat doesn't, so definitely make sure there's like, read through, make sure there's no meat, or use that little vegan scanner app like I mentioned. Good old halfway through or almost at the end camera stop that we all know and love if you're watching the YouTube channel. Literally, if you've watched any of the other videos, my camera always around like 20 minutes turns off and then I have to like turn it back on. So I'm gonna switch to using my Canon 80D soon once I do a little bit more learning. It's like a little bit of a steep learning curve for me. Every time I shoot a video, it's kind of blurry. It's not super focused well. It just doesn't look high quality. So I'm gonna start using that to film podcasts though. So hopefully I won't have to turn the camera off and on. So I was talking about popcorn. I love popcorn. Make sure it's vegan. Other than that, popcorn is one of my favorite things. It's a little bit healthier, it's airier. I feel like I can just like munch on it for a while and not have to feel like I just ate like 4 pounds of almonds. So popcorn's one of my favorite things, to bring. Ask any of my friends. They're like, oh, Kristen, gotta have popcorn on a road trip. This was the one that like I didn't know for years, but Fritos and the Fritos bean dip are both vegan. So Fritos, let alone, are delicious. They're awful for you. A lot of the stuff coming up is not the best for you. But again, sometimes you're on the road, you gotta treat yourself. We're all human. So enjoy a little Fritos and Fritos bean dip, because that bean dip is vegan. And it's delicious for some weird reason. Maybe because I used to love it when I was little, but that stuff's vegan. So go ahead and snatch that up. Don't get the cheese sauce. That Fritos like cheese sauce, nacho cheese sauce, that's not vegan, but the bean dip is. So if you're just like looking for something a little heartier, go ahead and eat that. That stuff's delish. Traditional Chex Mix, that stuff's vegan. Same with some other like Chex Mix, and it kind of depends on the gas station you're at, but the traditional Chex Mix is vegan. So snag one of those up if you like that. Swedish Fish. Swedish Fish are vegan. Sour Patch Kids. Sour Patch Kids are creepily vegan. And if you love eating little gummy children, then you should get them because they're sour and they're delicious. Same with Skittles. There's several little candies and things like that out there that are totally vegan, like accidentally vegan. In fact, I'm gonna do an episode about like accidentally vegan treats, which usually end up being vegan junk food. But I'm gonna do an episode on that coming up. So if you guys have any like accidentally vegan treats that you love, then again, go find this episode on YouTube and leave a little comment on it and I'll include it in my episode for you. But yeah, like I said, Skittles, those are vegan. Potato wedges. This was something that I never really thought about, but those like potato wedges, a lot of gas stations will have, you know, the place with the corn dogs and the hot dogs and like the taquitos and all that stuff. Those aren't vegan. But I've looked closely at several of those and they have those potato wedges, and oftentimes they're totally vegan, just like a little bit of seasoning on there. You can get ketchup. If you have your vegan mayo in the car like you should, then you can make fry sauce for them. Oh, so good. So we've done this a couple of times. Sometimes they even have like a place you can order and it just does not seem like it'd be vegan friendly at all. You know, fried chicken, all that stuff, but potato wedges. Same with like Albertsons and some other not gas stations, grocery stores like that. They'll have like potato wedges that you can just get. It's hot, it's delicious. They're definitely not super healthy for you, but they're so good. Why are potato wedges so good? I want potato wedges right now. I need to go on a road trip so I can have some potato wedges. So those are some lists of some like kind of vegan snacks you can find at most gas stations. I just wanted to make sure I listed some of those. Those are definitely not all of them, but that way you kind of have an idea. And again, there's little scanner apps you can use and you can kind of plan that way, or you can do some research of your own. But again, I'm going to do a little episode about accidentally vegan treats, so keep an eye out for that. All right. I think that's everything that I have for you guys today. So I really, really hope you liked this episode. I hope that you found it helpful. I hope it makes you a little less stressed for the next time you go on a road trip. And, you know, whether you're wanting to eat vegan, whether you are vegan, whether you're vegan most of the time, except for situations like this, I hope these tips were helpful for you. I really loved putting this episode together, mostly because I love road trips and I know people love road trips, and that's something where that's an area where people can struggle, especially if they're newly vegan, and a lot of times they can just toss everything out the window and just say, I'm going on a road trip, I'm not gonna eat vegan. But if you're vegan for the animals or for the environment or for your health, for all three, then it's really important to kind of educate and stay empowered and know what you can and can't eat. So that's what this episode was for. So again, I really hope you liked it. Make sure to go subscribe on YouTube. Like I said, it is the perfect place to connect with me and ask me questions about any of the episodes. I'll also leave links to my YouTube channel and my Instagram and my Facebook business page. I also have a Facebook group called How to Vegan, same as this podcast. So there's over 76,000 of us in there. So go join my Facebook group. That's another great place to connect with me as well. And please go leave a review and rating on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I appreciate you so much if you do. I appreciate you so much if you use the Amazon link to make your purchases. Every little bit helps me. I just love spreading the vegan message. So thank you so much to those of you who support me. It means so, so much to me. Don't forget to share this episode with any friends who you might think will find this helpful. And if you have any ideas at all for an episode, again, hop on over to YouTube. Go find me. Leave a little comment. I have some awesome episodes coming up with suggestions that you guys have left. So if you have an idea, like I really want her to do an episode about this, go let me know and I will put it on my list of episodes because I love making episodes for you guys. This was actually a really requested episode, so I'm doing it. Here it is. I'm finally making a vegan road trip episode. So I hope you guys liked it. Again, all of the links for the show notes, Again, all of the links that I mentioned will be in this episode's show notes, and you can always hop on over to kristenemily.com/podcast. That's KristenEmily.com/podcast, and you'll see all of the episodes there. You'll find all the links to find it on all the different platforms. The YouTube video will be there. There'll be an audio download you can download right there, and then everything I mentioned with all of the links will be there too. So if you need a jumping off point, head to my website, click on the podcast tab, and you'll be all set to go. So thanks again for listening. You guys are awesome. I appreciate each and every one of you so, so, so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll just catch you in the next episode of the How to Vegan podcast. Peace out.